Hello everyone, I'm Catherine and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to talk about a mental disorder that was requested by some people, and that is BPD, borderline personality disorder. First of all, what is BPD? BPD is characterized by unstable relationships with others, distorted self-image, uncontrollable emotional reactions, dissociation. People with this disorder are usually very sensitive to criticism and they usually reject it, and they have a huge fear of abandonment. People with BPD also tend to have depression, anxiety, or sometimes even self-destructive behaviors. These are just the general symptoms of BPD, but I want to go deeper and talk to you about the 4 different types of borderline personality disorder so you can have all the information you need. The first one is called discouraged borderline. So these people tend to be clingy, they tend to feel alone, they feel out of place, they usually go with the crowd. They also feel very angry on the inside and they usually feel disappointed in people. And you have to be very careful with this type because they are very likely to self-harm. The second type is called impulsive borderline. These people tend to be very flirtatious, very captivating, and very superficial at the same time. And they love receiving attention, they are highly energetic, but they easily get bored and they tend to feel angry when people let them down. And because of that, they can get involved in conflicts with a lot of people, so that's something to look out for. The third one is called petulant borderline. These people are very hard to please. They're unpredictable, impatient, irritable, and they complain a lot. They often engage in passive-aggressive behavior as a way of lashing out when they feel like people are letting them down. The fourth and final type is called self-destructive borderline. This is marked by a constant bitterness that they keep to themselves. They are their own worst enemy and they keep trying to sabotage their own success. They don't have a sense of self-control, they are very dependent on other people, and their fear of abandonment is huge. So be very careful with these type of people. Okay, now that we've established the 4 types of BPD, it's time to talk about the causes. Researchers think that BPD is caused by a combination of 2 factors. The first one is genetic factors, and the second one is a stressful or traumatic event in the life of the person who has BPD. The stressful events may include being invalidated and unsupported while you're growing up, losing a parent, of suffering some sort of abuse, whether it's psychological, physical, sexual, emotional, or even family instabilities. This is mixed with a genetic factor because research has showed that you're more likely to receive the diagnosis of BPD if someone close to you in your family has also received it. However, this is not 100% accurate because researchers don't know if this is inherited or if this is caused by other things like the environment you grew up in or the ways of thinking you were taught while you were growing up. Now let's talk about the important part. How do you cope with this disorder? The first thing I always say to people is to seek out for help. Go out and seek out for professional help from a psychologist so you can do some psychotherapy. Later in the video I'll explain the types of psychotherapy they might make you do so you can understand better. But I'm going to give you a small list of things you can do yourself to cope with BPD. First one is do something. This skill is referred to as behavioral activation. Passive activities like watching TV or being on the computer do not count. Do something that makes you active, doing chores at home, going for a walk, doing some physical exercise. You have to be active. This is very, very important. The second one is practice mindfulness of your emotions. When you're feeling an emotion, let it happen. Don't try to block it. Don't try to reject your emotions. Just think about what you're feeling in that moment. And when that's over, just let it go. Don't bring your emotions with you. They're in that moment and you're moving forward. The third one is breathing techniques. This is the simplest form of relaxation. You can search for breathing techniques online. There are a lot of them, and like I said in a previous video, I think you need to figure out what's the best breathing technique for yourself. And the fourth one is do something nice for someone else. Help someone, give someone a compliment, do some volunteer work. Nice gestures like these ones can reduce your emotional pain. Now, if you're watching this video because you know someone who has BPD and you want to help them, here's also a list for you to help them. The first one is very easy. Be trustworthy. People with BPD tend to have trust issues, so if you're honest and consistent in their lives, that's something very, very important. Number 2, support them. Call them, visit them regularly, show them you care and you're there for them. Be careful with conflicts because people with BPD tend to see conflicts as signals of uncaring. Remember that you can reject some behavior, but that doesn't mean that you don't accept the person. They need to know that you haven't given up on them and you are not going to, so tell them that directly. Number 3, identify positive aspects and characteristics. People with BPD are unsure of themselves, so sometimes you have to remind them who they really are. Try to bring out the positive aspects of their personalities and the positive actions and behaviors they do. Number 4, have fun with them. Healthy relationships are always associated with good moments and positive emotions. Inspire them and motivate them. The last one, the fifth one, might seem very small, but it's the most important of them all. Validate their experience and distress. Make sure they know that you think what they're going through is real. Because it really is, it's a problem and it needs to be treated and taken care of. Now, for the last part of this video, I'm going to talk about the treatments for BPD. The treatments for BPD are usually made with therapy, and it may be individual or group therapy. So I'm going to make a small list of the top 3 treatments that are usually used for this type of problem. Number 1, dialect behavioral therapy. This therapy is based on the idea that 2 factors contributed to your disorder. The first one is that you're more emotionally vulnerable than other people, and the second one is that you grew up in an environment where people didn't validate your emotions. The goal of this therapy is to introduce 2 new concepts. The first one is validation, which is accepting your emotions are valid and they are real. The second one is dialectics, which means that you have to be more open to new ideas that might contradict your own. The second therapy is called mentalization-based therapy. This is based on the idea that people with BPD have a poor capacity to mentalize. Mentalization is the ability to think about thinking. The goal here is for you to take a step back from your urges and examine if your thoughts are valid and real. Initially, it might be developed in a hospital where you would stay as an inpatient. It can be combined with group therapy as well as individual therapy, and it usually lasts for 18 months. The third one is TCS, Therapeutic Communities. They're structured environments where people with more complex disorders go to interact and take part in therapy. Most of them are residential and people stay there from 1 to 4 days a week. It also involves individual and group therapy, and it also has activities that improve your social skills. Medication is not often used for BPD, only if you have an adjacent disorder to BPD, like anxiety or depression. Mood stabilizers or antipsychotics are sometimes prescribed to deal with mood swings and to control impulse behavior. That is all I have for today. I really hope this was helpful. I know it's a very long video, probably the biggest one I've ever made, but I really wanted to give you all the information I knew. I hope you now know more about BPD. Leave this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and comment down below to tell me if you like this video and if you like videos like this one. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!